Alors, donc on part en freestyle, les gars, en freestyle. Allez, 3, 2, 1. Hello, welcome back to Hamid.
All right, thank you so much. This is another episode of Another Day in Paradise, live from Morocco. And today I am with Ziriab Reda and yours truly. So, Ziriab, how are you doing?
I'm
Long
good.
time no see. Get
bro.
closer, brother.
I'm good.
So, how was Paris? Good?
Good.
Feel good to
Came
come
here
back,
for,
right?
for a week, spending the last week of Ramadan with the family. So it's,
nice.
I'm happy.
All right, man. Well, today we wanted to address something that's quite interesting. It's been going on online for quite a long time, which is gender identity and all that crap.
Oh my god. Here we go.
Straight into it.
Listen, at least you know where I stand on all this shit. So, Andrew Tate. Let's just start with him as an introduction. He was released recently from prison, and we were talking right before we hit the record button, which we didn't forget to do, which is great. So,
You guys are used to forgetting.
well, we did that a couple times,
Yeah.
and we lost some pretty cool episodes. That's
Very
sucks.
cool
Yeah,
episodes,
that sucks, but that's okay.
But you know,
Yeah, we missed out on some 30 views or whatever. But what are you gonna do? So who knows why he went to prison officially?
like the reason
Yeah.
behind it, it's he's accused of human trafficking.
Yeah. So he's perceived as the top G, as they call him.
Yeah.
But when you get a little bit involved in, okay, how does he make his money? And then you realize he has cam girls. So
That's how he started. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
how made
what
his
he does right now. That's what he does right now. And him and his brother, they have some parts on what's that website where women can like sell their webcams, etc. How do you call it?
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. Yeah, he has some shares on OnlyFans.
Really?
So yeah. So he is involved in that kind of word of gray area where it's legal, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not ethical, maybe not the best job. I mean, in the US, when they take, you bring your father or whatever to tell the other kids about your job, maybe that he might not be super, super happy to tell all the other kids what he does for a living. But, he was released recently. And, of course, he's claiming his innocence. He's saying that he was in Bulgaria, right? He was
Romania.
Romania.
Yeah.
Okay. Romania. He was praising Romania a few weeks before he was captured, saying that it was a great country, a lot of freedom, etc., etc. And he likes to be very controversial, of course. And he says that there are more freedom here than anywhere in the world, including the US, etc.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks later, they captured him. They kept him for a long time. I don't know if it's based on nothing. I would
Well, it
suspect.
was almost 3 months.
Yeah,
And
him and his brother,
technically
though,
he's
right?
not released. He's just on home arrest. So
Yeah, house arrest. And him and his brother, I don't know. And some people were like manifesting and saying like, free
yeah.
the top G, free him, like he's a hero.
Yeah. Well,
Listen.
what came like when you when he was taken in prison and you watched social media? What was going on is people used to say that it was based on nothing, his arrest. So that's what people were claiming, that
True.
there was no proof. So apparently that was the main issue of him being taken in prison, based on him being accused of human trafficking. But
Yeah.
it seems that there was no evidence that assured his that proved his him being
Guilt.
guilty.
yeah, for sure. Well, when you hold these types of statements and everything, like very controversial, very anti-system, all that stuff, like you're bound to.
Yeah,
I don't know.
To
You guys
to
are
being
being very
cancelled.
controversial. To be honest, I think you are bound to be cancelled, and cancel culture is a whole other ball game, and which I agree. Some people, online they claim to be whatever, like journalists or whatever, and they just start being offended. And
Yeah.
and again, there was a very famous comedian. I think it was Seinfeld or whatever, or Ricky Gervais, who says you being offended doesn't mean you're right. Like
Yeah,
you
sure.
could be offended all you want. It doesn't mean
course.
like you don't have the upper hand because you're offended. I mean, being offended doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but like what bothers me with this topic, with people that you know, a lot of people reacted to this issue and were criticizing him directly. And what's disturbing is that most people that were criticizing him didn't know the man, didn't know what he was standing for, didn't know what his messages were, and only based their opinion on what he was accused of, and something that is. Moreover, not based on particular evidence. So that's what's also disturbing. When you look at a case that is, you know, man involved, known worldwide, and so on, I think that it's your responsibility as a citizen or human being in general to just, you know, all right, they're telling me this. Right, I should question whether it's true or not.
True.
I should look for myself. I should look for.
But same goes for us, though, right?
Of course. I mean.
We can't take any position one way or another.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he's innocent until proven guilty. We cannot state for a fact that he's innocent.
Yeah,
but it raises the question of, all right, so his message is controversial. He stands for things that most people are like, oh, he's against women, or he's against that, and he's against this. All right, well, take a minute, take a step back, question it all, and then make your own opinion on the matter. And most people, when you talk about this guy, you know, women mostly, oh, he's a misogynist, or all right, so what did he say? What did he say that he's a misogynist? Oh, I don't know. Well, he's a misogynist, you know. So people's opinions are only
I've
based
seen that they made videos about that.
They made
about
videos about that.
People not. But the funny thing is, let's not forget, this guy is probably the one who had the biggest growth of notoriety ever.
Sure.
But do you guys know why?
Well, that's exactly the point I wanted to get to is that he's first of all, he's a great public speaker, like very good at that, and he kind of like came in like the image with a lot of controversial statements.
Yeah,
like from the get-go, like he was saying like very harsh things. He had a whole model where he was encouraging people to create like fake pages of him and stuff, and he was providing content for everyone so that he can like be all over the social media overnight. But once he gained that notoriety, he started flipping his script, started being very more cautious on the way he present things,
including
and stuff.
more nuances.
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
And what came out of it is the first phase, people were just talking about this like people were making fun of him almost like this bolos, you know. And when he flipped the script, he became something that's very dangerous for a lot of people in the way that he was like the champion of today's young males that are struggling. He was their champion, and he almost has a messiah status for those guys on his approach to how you should act with women. What's hard with everything he says is that anyone with the minimum of logic would agree with everything he says at 90%. Especially
I don't know
when
about 90%.
No, I'm talking about like that second phase.
Okay, yeah, okay.
You know, because he stands for a lot of like taking responsibilities, moral values, all that stuff, which is funny coming from a guy that does a lot of controversial things.
Yeah, absolutely. The objectifies women for a living, selling, helping them set up like a system where they would sell their bodies for young men. And what are you doing? Don't do that. Sounds very loud.
No worries.
So I don't know. I think he loves to swim in dark waters. He loves to go in gray areas where he there is like a line between legality and illegality, and he loves to use separate laws in separate countries. He didn't go to Romania just because he likes Romanians. He went there because they were more lenient into his kind of businesses and the cam girls, etc., etc. And I hope I'm not being controversial, but I'm not planning to go in Romania anytime soon. But it seems like it's a pretty easily corruptible country. It seems like money talks over there. So, of course, he would not try that in Germany, in France, in those kind of countries where it's a little bit more established. So
Money talks there as well. It's just not the same about.
well, yeah. Like they wouldn't care so much about him and his little amount of money that he would pay. So it's like the path of least resistance, and Romania seems to be that way. Also, he created a university, which is very trendy.
Oh, the Hustlers University.
which is
Like,
called the Real World, if I'm not
Listen,
mistaken.
just the name is like it's fucking flipping me off. Like this is just crazy.
Yeah.
The Hustlers University,
Yeah.
and in this university, he doesn't teach.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
There are people.
There are people who are teaching for them, for him, and some people are. There is like a CoffeeZilla. I don't know if you guys know about this guy. He has like a YouTube channel.
He's the guy that tested it out.
He actually tries to find out about scammers and all those Gary V or whatever his name, and all those influencers who are like helping you get rich because they are so rich they need to help people get rich. That's their principle in life. They are so rich that they want to sell you classes for $9.99. That's how rich they
Yeah.
are. And they are begging you to be rich.
If you want to get this Lamborghini too,
Exactly. So
Like, do you think it's naive to believe that these guys really want to help?
of
other
course,
people,
like, do you
get
see Bill
rich?
Gates like selling
No, I'm
you
asking you.
$9.99? Oh, big time, man. Yeah. I think they are all somehow involved into a scammy business. It's fishy for sure. But let's go back to him. He also had a university where he encourages all his members to repost his content. That's how internet is like overflowed by his content, and then you see it all the time. And of course, with the algorithms, we all know that the more you watch a certain type of content, the more the algorithm is going to propose the same type of content.
which is, by the way, genius marketing move.
Definitely,
Of course.
definitely. It's almost like a pyramid scheme. Okay, like you know, like if you want to be, if you want to go higher on the hierarchy, you need to post more of my stuff, and that's part of the requirements. And the more popularity he gets, the more he appears successful, and then he brings more people, and then it's a vicious circle. Like the
Yeah.
more people see him, the more people
Yeah.
think he's legit, and the more people think he's legit, the more they want to join him, and the more they join him, the more they share his content, and so on.
No,
and
and
so
he's
forth.
followed by so many. I would be amazed, like, to see. I would love to see the numbers if he announced, like, some kind of like
Wealth, you mean?
press conference, post everything that happened, like on a live stream, like a pay-per-view. How many streams would he have?
Oh,
And I think it would be comparable to almost like a main event of a fight
like
or
UFC
something.
main
Yeah,
event. Yeah.
because like the numbers are.
Yeah. When you
are
look at his
crazy.
views on YouTube, like it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy numbers.
Yeah. I mean, we do have some great numbers too, but we use a different strategy. We try to do a podcast and then not tell anybody. We try to keep it
Yeah.
secret.
That's a brilliant.
You know what? It's working great. It's working
No,
fantastic.
honestly, like for someone that doesn't say anything to anyone, like we have like sneaky viewers. You know, we don't,
I know.
I don't know how
They
they
watch
find
it
out.
in secret.
Yeah, like
and then when they watch it, they can keep secrets.
Guys-
Our viewers, our
at
viewers
least
are
they don't
really-
repeat it.
Listen, our viewers can tell secrets. That's how we feel so comfortable here. We can say anything we want. Like it will stay between us.
True that.
Very,
Like,
very close circle.
Guys, do you think, like, Andrew Tate's personality or personal life aside, do you think that it's much more interesting to raise the issue of how this guy became famous and how people started following him? Like, for what would be the reasons, especially when you look at our societies, and more specifically Western societies, where there's this idea that societies were dominated by patriarchy,
okay.
and
Oh,
men
you're going
being
there. Okay.
against
Okay.
women for so long and so many years, which is, by the way, very, very, very disputable argument.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's something that has to do with the status of men in those societies? I mean, there's probably differences between Western societies and Morocco, for instance. I think it's not the same issues, it's not the same.
Definitely.
But like, I think that most men are struggling to find their places in Western societies where women stand for this argument that they've been prosecuted for so many years and so long, and that they need to have their place in society, which is obviously something that is noble. But what do you think about that?
Debatable, I would say, but noble is
Like
is
what I
another
mean
word.
by noble is that, all right,
Like
obviously
to
we
fight
should,
for your rights is always
Yeah,
noble.
yeah,
Absolutely,
that's what I mean by
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely, I got you.
but like, does it mean that that men should be should feel any sort of responsibilities for everything that happened in these times where they assumed that there was a patriarchal dominance?
Okay.
What do
That
you think
was
about
a
that?
long ass question. I'll be
It's a
honest.
long-ass question. Don't
But-
worry, I'll chop it up. I'll make
But,
it short and
Like
concise.
I think that's the main issue.
I
that's
think-
the main.
I think-
that's the main reason why these kinds of people like Andrew Tate or others
True,
are so
if
famous.
I
think
may say something
Sure.
really quickly, because you're right. Andrew Tate came under big spotlights because he was treating this theme of what it means to be a real man. And you have, this is how you should treat your women. You should take care of her. You should do this. She should never pay a restaurant. You should take care of her from A to Z. But also she has also some responsibilities and duties, which is to take care of you at home and clean and do all that. And people were like up in arms. Oh my God, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
One thing I want to say is I am not sure he is not just saying this just to say it, just to be controversial, to attract attention. I'm not sure if you talk to him, because I have seen a few videos where he broke character. And when he's like, oh man, this is fucking, like, even him is like, oh my God, he's like laughing, and you see his real face. So
What do you
does
mean
he
by- what
believe
do you
this?
mean? What do you mean?
Like he knows what to say to be controversial.
Exactly.
It's like
do you mean
clickbait.
Yeah.
You know, in a way. So, and then you see his real face where he starts saying, "Oh my God!" Like he says, "You know, a woman should go home and make me a sandwich." Oh my God! What the fuck? All right, let's do it again.
Yeah.
A woman should be at home making me a sandwich. If I say make me a sandwich, you should say
stop hating. this
no,
one.
because like
No, but to answer your question, it's in the world that we're living, especially in Western societies, where basically there's no logical limits to any ideas or ideologies or anything. It was very refreshing, even if you're not that you're not
that extreme. Yeah.
that extreme. It was very refreshing to hear someone stand up and say,
Cut the bullshit.
and said everything that no one
Had the balls to say.
balls to say, because like when you see how like the wave, it's not like a small portion. Now it's like mainstream. Like even countries integrated those ideas in their legal system. Like you look at Canada and stuff like that, where they tell you like I don't know, like you cannot choose the gender of your child. But your child who's under 5 has more is more capable of choosing, for instance, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And if you go against that, it's like
They also
against
made it
his
illegal
Yeah.
to like the pronouns now.
In
It's
Canada,
like
no?
if
Yeah.
a teacher, if like a student goes to his teacher and says, "Well, you need to call me they them," that's the law. If he doesn't, it's like he insulted you, and it's illegal for him not to respect your pronouns. Which
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that we're living
Jesus.
in a reality that where people are denying every biological fact. That's what we were talking about before we started
Yeah.
the podcast. People are like, all right, any biological truth is not true, and the social construct that I'm gonna adopt for creating my identity is trumping any biological truth.
it's not
Like,
only adopt. It's
like,
I will impose that.
I will
on you.
impose that.
That's the problem.
And if you don't accept that, you're
You're a
intolerant.
bigot. You're intolerant, and
You're
shame on
this
you.
and
You're
that,
not
and you're this and that.
open-minded, etc. But
Well,
it's-
that's
crazy
That's
because-
still okay to be called all those names, but when there's the legal system that comes in.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
when-
That's the
that's-
problem.
man.
Where the legal system
Like I don't mind being
tells you what you need to
people
say.
thinking I'm crazy if I'm like opposing those ideas, but if I end up in jail, man, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
for sure.
true. That's true. But
sure.
like the way you identify, like if I play devil's advocate, some people say Well, what is it to you if I identify as a woman and I'm a man? What is it to you if I identify and vice versa as a frog? If I'm like, what is your problem if I identify as
it
that?
doesn't bother me, but what bothers me is you
Imposing
trying
that
to
on me.
impose
Yeah.
that. I mean, and more importantly, if the law starts to take
back
it,
you up,
to back
yeah.
you up and say you need to say that that's what's happening in Canada
True,
and other countries.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is exactly the example of a society that becomes a tyranny.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Absolutely.
and it's very, very weird because we're living in an era where we're like, freedom of speech and everybody should be able to do whatever the fuck they want and so on and blah
Yeah.
blah blah. But you shouldn't say that. You should say that. You know.
Yeah.
But that's always the case. Like all extremes
Are dangerous.
Tend to emphasize the other
Can you fill
extreme.
me up?
Like I don't know who said that, but like about the feminist movement, where he said like women are becoming. Ooh,
Yeah, it was.
This interruption was brought to you by
Sultan. But
It's Sultan. It's the best tea, yeah, Habibi.
let me go finish my idea. Have a bit
Okay,
of
keep
respect.
going.
Sorry,
keep going.
Topkal.
Respect
Keep going.
me
Sorry,
as a
sorry.
man,
Topkal
Yes,
experience.
exactly.
man, right? Okay.
Are you sure?
He was saying like about the feminism movements and all
yeah.
that stuff, where he was saying like women are becoming the men they hate.
Interesting.
So instead of like trying to find that equilibrium of, you know, just logic and kind of like understanding where the other comes from and all that stuff, like I can understand that a woman would want to in certain societies up her status because the status that she had before is not relevant anymore to today's society, all that stuff. But becoming
She should. You go,
course.
girl.
like to empower women. To
Sorry,
empower
mate,
women. I think it's very
Let him finish,
respectful.
let him
no,
finish.
empowering
But-
women is amazing, but coming to a point where like there's this sentence that is so mainstream that women say they don't need a man.
Until they need someone to back them up when they're having a fight.
Yeah,
No,
until they
but
hear some
this-
noise downstairs, and then who's gonna go check it out downstairs? Her? Like
Besides that, there was a study that showed like that all power women, when like career-driven women, very strong, that intimidates a lot of men, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Once they kind of like hit those late 40s, 50s, and stuff like that, and they kind of like
Yeah, true.
try to do try to sum up their life experience. They're like,
what have I done with my life?
Yeah, but that's the responsibility of our societies, but also parents' responsibilities. When you educate a child and you keep repeating him that, you keep telling him that what's most important to him during his for himself is his career, and he should look for his career and you know find his place in society and get the best jobs and blah blah blah. Especially when it's women. And it's all they're hearing, you know. Obviously, they're going to grow up thinking that that's the first priority they need to put in their lives, which is, in my opinion, not the way you should educate a child. I mean, obviously, a career is why
It's
not?
important.
Sure, it's important, but if I have a girl, I will educate her mostly in how to become a good mother, how to become a striving spouse, how to become someone that will live for his family. And it's the same for men. You know, you grow up to provide for your family, for your loved ones. So those things, in my opinion, should be more important than any other things. And when you put them, you put these ideas in their heads that they should put their career first, and so on and so on. And what's also interesting about that is that when you look at the issue of gender inequalities in salaries, for instance, everyone says, all right, the main factor that determines the difference between a man's salary and a woman's salary is the gender. Well, I'm sorry, it's not.
It's just not true. Yeah.
There are other factors
It's not factual
that
at
need
all.
to be taken into consideration when you evaluate the gap between men and women. And most people are not. No, it's because she's a woman. It's because she's black. It's because, all right, well, why don't we look at the other factors?
Mhm.
You know, I don't know who's this guy that used to. I think it's Peterson.
Yeah,
that
Yeah,
used to
Jordan
say-
Peterson.
Yeah,
Mm.
about all the factors that determine the differences between salaries. Men do more unpaid labor. They tend to travel more. They tend to
work
to work-
outside,
yeah, to
and
work outside.
they work more hours,
Exactly,
et cetera.
exactly. So
they
those
more,
are important when
and
you want to
also
judge
one of
this
the main
issue.
factor, absolutely, one of the main factors is that they're more interested in like STEM, like engineering, etc. kind of work.
Sure.
And women are more interested, usually not all
People,
of them, of
yeah.
course, in like
People
like
oriented.
social jobs or like
yeah.
hospitality, etc., etc.
Sure.
And by definition, and I don't know if it's fair or not fair, but those jobs pay more than others.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and it's
So-
a cycle. I mean, it's a psychological fact, and the issue is that people are not. There is no facts. Facts don't exist.
True.
You don't
I have
need to
opinions.
have facts.
Like you
That's
don't need
pretty
to
much
have
what
facts.
we do here.
You need to have feelings.
You need to have feelings. Exactly. You have to have
That's
emotions.
enough.
Emotions. Exactly.
Like I could, like
Like-
I could feel that you, like even in relationships, like you can create a major problem just by feeling.
Sure.
You know, like and it's the same thing. Like
Sure,
I feel
for
like
sure.
before the external world, like that was factual.
Mm.
Like people didn't give a flying fuck if you were going through something or this or that.
Obviously.
If you have a deadline, you respect it. If you have this, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. And today it's like it's the feeling. Like if you go to your boss and you tell him, "I feel I'm not, I cannot work,
Recognized. Yeah.
and I come to work every day, but I feel I can't work."
Yeah. Yeah,
The-
they're
the
teaching.
the
Yeah.
first thing they'll do is trying to understand and trying to do. Bro, get your ass
Get
back
your
to
ass
work,
back to
man.
work, man. For sure. Like they're teaching us. They're teaching young men that they need to be in touch with their emotions. They need to let them express. They have to express their emotions. And I mean, a man that cannot dominate or control his emotions is a dangerous man. You know.
I'm not sure I agree with that, to be honest.
I mean, if you cannot control your emotions, you're a danger to yourself.
Of course.
I-
I mean,
if you are-
controlling your emotions are always a good thing.
Not
like
shutting-
if
not shutting
if you
them
feel
off.
like
Not
if you're
shutting them
angry
off.
and you feel like killing somebody, like you're just gonna try to
No,
control
Yeah.
it.
what I mean by that is that the example that was highlighted by Reda, I feel something. It's more important than my responsibility to perform. So I put it forward before my responsibility to perform. And
Of course.
and that's wrong.
It is, but I don't.
And I mean, we need to teach young men to obviously give space for their emotions and understanding them. And I'm not saying you should shut them off and become a machine. That's not my point. But you need to understand that there is a responsibility that you need to carry for yourself in your life that is much more important than the rest. And your emotions, whether you can live them, you can feel them, it's okay. But you shouldn't put them forward in priority of your responsibilities in life.
I don't fully agree. Like for me, it's okay to be in touch with your emotions and all that stuff.
Yeah, me too.
And if it's your priority as a personal human being, like that, your feelings are come above certain responsibilities. Good for you. Do whatever you want to do. What I have a problem with is the realm in which it holds importance. Like feelings hold importance in realms where it's you communicate through those feelings, like in your relationship, in family, you can care what people feel.
Of course.
Outside of that, there's other realms where feelings have no space. I do not care if I'm not supposed to know. And today we're asking people to not only care, but like abide by the way how people are feeling, and that's where the danger is. It's not a question of like men shouldn't feel or men shouldn't do this or
No,
even
that's
women.
not what I said. That's not
That's
my point.
what you said. We heard you. We
heard you. We heard you.
No, that wasn't my point.
And just to finish one point, sorry, Jordan Peterson, when he did his this whole speech about like gender gap in pays and stuff, this is another thing about feelings, is that you don't take a lot of things into consideration, because on the negative side, that gap is even bigger. Like suicide rates on men,
Men
all
being
that stuff,
incarcerated
etc.,
are much
etc.,
higher.
etc.
Yeah.
Sure,
So-
sure.
I think it's more the application of the realms of application of feelings should be revised.
I agree with that, but what I meant, maybe I didn't express myself very well, but what I
Oh,
meant,
we heard you. We heard you.
what I meant was that obviously feelings and emotions are important, have an important place in a man's life or a woman's life, and they shouldn't be considered as a noise that must be shut off or anything. That's clear. That's obviously not what I'm saying. But what I mean is that I think that we all have a responsibility on Earth, right?
Mhm.
To be noble and to stand for to stand for justice, to stand for the greater good. And I think that all those responsibilities obviously are also carried out with feelings and emotions, because they guide you through this process of being a righteous individual. But I think that the problem is where your emotions and your feelings dominate you and have yeah, I think that there's a problem when they dominate you, and when you cannot see you cannot see clearer for the main purposes of your life, you know.
So you think sometimes we just need to suck it up and just get to work?
Yeah,
for
obviously, but I agree with what Reda is saying and the application of you know, the realm of its application. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Because if we take the question,
Hmm.
do you think it's hard to be a man today? What would be your answer?
In Western societies, for sure, it is.
I would say shut the fuck up.
No, I mean, I'm not.
It's not
I'm
even
talking about
it's
myself.
not even like a
I'm not-
question
no, I'm
to
not-
ask. Right?
I'm
Yeah.
not talking about myself. I'm talking about young men that are struggling with all these
Struggling with what? Like,
with all the noises,
Listen, but
you should you should
things
should
are
do
only
that, and
important if
and
you
you
care
shouldn't
what
say
they-
that,
if
and you
you
should
care about
do
them.
that, and you shouldn't do that. I think
Yeah.
that most men in Western societies are growing up being fed with all this bullshit, and that's
Yeah,
the
but,
issue. I'm not talking about maybe our generation is gonna be fine with all these issues, but I think
honestly,
that
I
young
don't think so.
young guys may have a little bit more struggle.
If
Not
you're
all of them.
exposed to this kind of stuff, then yeah. But if you are not exposed to this kind of stuff, and things are only important if you give them
Well,
importance.
most men are exposed. Man,
Not
there's
really.
an example. Like I read an article recently. Kids in kindergarten, like I think they were 5 or 6 years old, and their teachers. I mean, when you're 5 and 6 years old, you don't understand shit, right? Like if your teacher tells you something, you take it for granted.
Yeah, everybody's a god.
Yeah, and those kids like were hearing their teachers every day talking about how you can choose to be a man or how you can choose to be a woman, right? It's a choice. It's not a biological determination. And these kids went to their parents and was like, "Oh, I want to be a girl." The other ones were like, "I want to be a guy. I want to be a boy," and so
Yeah.
on. So I think when you ask, is it difficult to be a man? I think that considering how young kids are being misled with the education system, with all this ideology, if the parents are not there to maintain a sort of how can you say
Balance,
that?
I would
Yeah,
say.
balance on these topics. It can be very dangerous. That's what I mean when I say yes. It might be difficult in Western societies. So
But each generation, it comes with different difficulties, different hardships,
Different
etc.
challenges.
etc. I
Yeah,
don't think
I
I don't think
agree.
it has. I don't think this one is particularly more difficult.
But in terms of identity, we're speaking in terms of identity,
Yeah.
how you're building your identity. For us, it wasn't. There was other difficulties. There was other issues, but it wasn't. It never
Well-
attacked our identity. You know what I mean?
He has one point.
Like,
Does he?
It's that
you know what I mean? Like these guys are like, all right,
it's the lack.
we all struggled with, all right, who am I and stuff. But it never attacked our biological reality and our
True.
you know.
But are we representative? Like, do you think in a tribe in Kenya they care about identity?
Well,
No, they do not care about that
to be
because they
honest,
don't have the same-
To be honest,
So we are a small
I think I
portion.
understand the point that he's
You know?
bringing on. is that there is a universal thing that applies in Kenya or in Morocco or wherever, is that growing up, especially for men, I think it's maybe a bit more present for men than women, is that usually we imitate role models.
Of course.
Yeah.
And in this case, is it harder to be a man if you have fewer role models?
It's not harder. It's just different.
That's an interesting point.
That would be
That's an interesting point.
because it's true. Like if you think about like most men that are in the front
Spotlight.
in the spotlight today, etc., do they hold the same values that you grew up thinking what it is to be a man? I would say it's close to none.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't know. I think it's sometimes we use the excuse of freedom of gender, freedom of decision, freedom of this, freedom of that, and it could lead to like some dangerous premises, like for example gender and
Yeah.
and you know like there are some I really like to do research and watch stuff about cults. And cults are also freedom of religion, and that's how they're surviving. That's how, for example, Scientology is not paying taxes and
Yeah.
it's surviving and striving because it's a freedom of religion. So,
True.
So freedom, the excess of freedom, is also can carry with it some dangers. And yeah, if you
course.
if you take your kids and they say, oh no, they have to choose, they are free to choose their gender. Well, like biology chose the gender. No. They need to be free. You know, and they use this excuse of freedom to carry some dangerous messages and some
Yeah, of
dangerous
course, of
things with
course.
that. So absolute freedom
Like-
is definitely
Agreed.
dangerous. for
Agreed.
sure.
Agreed. For sure. And I think you were speaking about the challenges of young men. I think in Western societies, but probably in other societies, but I'm not sure. I think the main challenge is standing for the truth.
and keeping
You
up
know.
with the Kardashians.
Yeah, that's tough because
Those are the two.
they're fast runners. They are fast runners.
No, but like
No,
I mean-
definitely.
each time you want to say, I live in Paris, right?
Yeah.
So I
It's a
talk
weird
to
flex,
people.
but okay.
Oh my
No,
God.
but like
It's a
I
weird
talk to
flex.
people, and you have no idea the number of situations where I was tempted to just, like work gatherings or whatever, when those kinds of
Social
touchy
events,
topics
yeah.
are brought
Come around.
over.
Yeah.
Like it's very difficult because if I start saying all the things that, for example, 5%, 10% of the things that I'm telling you guys, they would probably think I'm a freak,
Or not.
no, I'm 100% sure they would, because once again, Western societies lost their touch with the reality,
Reality, with
the
facts.
truth, with facts,
Yeah.
and I think it's probably linked to the fact that they killed God many years ago. There is a lack of
Consequence.
of consequence and of moral virtue. Like there is no moral virtue. Just doesn't exist. Therefore there is no ethical behaviors. They don't give a fuck. It's just the only God they stand for is themselves. So I think that when you have a society where everyone is God, there cannot be any collective construction for the greater good, because no one is taking responsibilities. People are taking responsibilities for themselves and just themselves. So I think that's probably the main reason why Western societies are dying, because of those two reasons. And when you want to be a voice for that, well,
You
you're
become a
cancelled,
danger.
You're put in jail. You become dangerous. You become a misogynist.
Well,
you
there's
become
also the other-
intolerant, and
the
so
other
on
thing-
and so on.
The other thing that
That's a
comes with
tyrannic
it,
society.
the other thing that comes with it is
Tyrannical.
that for someone who has all those values and things, it becomes so borderline stupid that
Yeah.
when you speak out, it's after a very long period of patience where whatever you speak out is very aggressive towards their ideas. You're gonna be
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm not
Because
gonna
you've
say
been
anything.
building
I'm
up,
not gonna
building
say
up, building
anything.
up,
I'm
building
not-
up, yeah.
But You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
well, one must control himself.
you know, it's I think it's
that.
it's it's very interesting what you said,
What
because
do you think about that?
my honest opinion and my struggle as I became more and more advanced in age is to speak my mind, even if like I would disagree with the majority of people I was with. And it takes some balls, because it's very easy to go with the flow. And if everybody's saying, "Oh yeah, man,
Very true.
I think women should be stay at home, etc." You would find yourself saying, "Yeah, man, yeah, those bitches need to stay at home," even though that's not because you just don't want the confrontation, you don't want the aggravation.
Yeah.
And as I've been growing up, I'm like trying not to agree, like voice my agreement even though I disagree, or be quiet, which is the next step. I would just say, yeah, no, I don't think I agree. And it's a big challenge, because you
For
attract attention, then you need to argue, then people look at you weird, and then. But here's the thing: I discovered that the more I've been doing this, and the more
You unlock others.
you unlock others, like people
Very,
are like,
very,
yeah,
very
I actually
true.
agree with you. I
You know
agree
what's
with
interesting as well is that I think it's Jordan Peterson that said
Very
that,
beautiful.
and he said that if you're not
If you're not watching Another Day in Paradise, you're missing out.
if you're not setting out to speak the truth, you're not living your own life. You're living
Yeah.
someone else's life.
True.
And
True.
if you're a truthful individual, you're living an adventure. You don't know what are going to be the consequences of you telling the truth, but you'll see. So that's the adventurous path,
True.
and I think is 100% right, because also what you said about unlocking genes. He also said, I think it was him. When you, I think I forgot what he said.
But he did
When
say it,
you
though, right?
don't follow Another Day to Paradise, you
That
just
is-
click
you
on
are missing out.
subscribe.
Subscribe,
and,
like, comment.
It will come. It will come back. It will
But
come back.
yeah, we are probably gonna wrap up soon, so you better come back soon.
Yeah.
I think also in terms of group opinion, what I discovered to be interesting is, first of all, when you speak your mind, then some people will say they're just shy, or they just go with the flow, and then sometimes they bring their support but discreetly. Sometimes they say, no, actually he's right, Jawad is right, I don't. And sometimes the whole group is trying to say what they think it would get the most likes, or the most
Approval.
popular thing to say. Sometimes nobody believes that. They're just saying it because they think it's gonna sound cool, or it's gonna sound
for
like
sure.
that. Like so. Just speak your mind. Honestly, I think people should definitely have the balls to disagree, and it
Most
brings
def-
us back. It brings us back to the topic of, like, if you feel different, there is nothing wrong about saying, yeah, you know what, I was born in a man's body, but I feel like a woman, or vice versa.
Yeah, definitely.
Then there is a silver line in which there is a line that you should not cross, which is, some mental issues where people believe that they are, like, some people just have mental issues, and because we want to respect them, we will let
Yeah.
them go on this, and we need to respect them. He believes he's a chair, so he's
Obviously.
a chair. Well, okay.
I think they had it all wrong on the definition of love. Like when you love someone, it needs to be tough love. You need to tell him when he's wrong. You need to tell him where he's doing something that isn't, doing him any good.
For sure.
And to bounce back on what you said about the responsibility of being truthful. The main, like the reasons why we experienced all these catastrophes in the 20th century, tyrannical, like in 1940 and so on. The reasons why all these ideologies were striving were mainly because majority of people were not speaking their mind, were not speaking the truth.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a complex issue, but I think that when you look at it from this perspective, the majority of people being silenced, not speaking up,
Yeah.
is
And
giving-
following
the trend or and so on.
It's just laziness.
It's laziness, and it's lack of courage. It's like
True.
it's
no,
fear,
and it
it's-
feeds itself.
and
Like,
it's
the
doesn't
more you do
reflect-
it, the
yeah.
less
Exactly.
you're confident.
Exactly.
The less,
Yeah.
the less, and the
Yeah.
less the more you're dependent on
Yeah.
approval.
Yeah.
The group effect, it could be
Exactly.
very, very dangerous. I
Sheep,
think.
shoop, shoepen.
Yeah,
Cheap, cheap,
yeah,
cheap.
yeah.
So be truthful.
Yeah, and you know, like they said, you know, the truth will hurt, but then it will set you free.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you really like somebody, you should. The utmost respect is to give somebody the truth, and like just, you know, like just being a yes man is like honestly. I know we had the topic about friendship, etc., and I hate those people who are like around you who just.
Oh,
like,
that's so great what you did.
it was great. It was yeah. He's an asshole. He told you that he's an asshole. Nobody tells you no, man. Actually, you fucked
think
up.
you
You shouldn't have
messed
said
up.
that, etc.
Yeah.
And I think you know, being honest is something that's not really appreciated. But then it's something that is yeah. And we should stop the nonsense. And when somebody is wrong, we should tell them they're wrong. And if they are offended, fine. That's okay because that's what it's meant. That's what it means to live in society. Like you cannot please everybody. Some people
That's
will like
what it
it.
means
Some
to
people
be
will.
a decent human being.
Yeah, yeah, and you don't like it, you don't like it. All right, we're gonna stop here. Thank you so much, Zidia. We could
Thanks.
have talked about this
Man.
topic forever because
My
it's
pleasure,
such a
guys.
broad
Thanks
topic.
for having me.
Thank you so much. I'll see you guys soon. Don't
Thank you,
forget to
Joel.
like, to subscribe, to comment, and we'll catch you later.
Peace out.